welcome to Better Business Podcast. My name is Alexei, and today I've got a very special guest who took me a while to hunt down, Sharon Jurd. How you going there, Sharon?
Hi, Alexei. I'm excited to be here. I know we've taken a couple of turns to get here, but we're here now, so I'm very excited.
Look, Sharon does a number of different things, and I met her probably close to 10 years ago at one of the conferences of HydroClean, and I'm sure we'll talk about that company a little bit more. And now Sharon runs a business called SMJ Coaching Institute. So, Sharon, tell us about your journey. Tell us about how you got yourself into all this. Where did you start?
Yeah, well, way back when I came out of real estate, actually. So don't hold that against me. I spent a lot of years in real estate. To cut a very long story short, landed in the franchising world with HydroClean. So I told my husband to go and do it on his own, and then I got all excited about it and became a 50% partner and shareholder in the company HydroClean. And we started out, quite small from zero, and now we're in 47 countries, so that's very exciting. But during that time, people would come to me and go, I want to know what you do. I want to speak from stage, because I was speaking from stage a lot about our franchise success, and then I would coach them, and then people wanted to know about coaching. And I suppose the shift for me was, I saw a thread on social media and someone said, how do you know to hire a great coach? Because a lot of in the coaching industry, you pay up front and then you get a couple of months in and they're shit, So how do you know? And I was very curious about this, and I thought, well, let's do a directory. And then I thought, well, that's just Google, right? If you Google business coaches, there's millions and millions. Even if you narrow it to Gold Coast where I am, there's millions and millions. And so what I wanted to do was have a place where people could come and build their business and go out in the real world and be accredited in a way that people could trust, like, know, and trust, and go, I'm going to hire this coach, and they're accredited with the Coaching Institute and be reliable. So I have that area of the SMJ Coaching Institute, and then it's, the one-on-one coaching. Even if you aren't a coach, people come to me in franchising and in high-end business to come and work with me one-on-one. Yeah. So it was an interesting journey because just to take you back, I had a business coach many, many years ago, and he said, you'd make a great coach. And I laughed at him, and I'm like, oh, no, I'd never make a great coach. But over the years, I've realized that, I have something to share and offer out into the big wide world.
Well, you've got quite a following for sure. I mean, every time I see you, it's at conferences, and everyone either knows you or your customers already, and it's quite interesting. I think the results speak for themselves. So when it comes to, I guess, working with businesses, what sort of problems do business owners typically come to you with? I mean, obviously you mentioned speaking from stage, but that was obviously a bit of a different scenario. I mean, is there a bit of a trend as to what people are actually wanting help with?
It really boils down to three areas: time, energy, and money. Yeah. So they're looking for some more time in their life to spend with loved ones, or they want more time to spend working on their business instead of in it. And the energy around doing some things. So it might be around their health or their well-being or their mental health. They'll come to me to want to work on some of that inner stuff. And then it's the money. They want more clients, they want more income, they want to scale their business. So like in 2023, I helped a lady scale her business from 5 million to 20 million. She was stuck at that 5 million, plateaued there. So I helped her scale that to that. So one of those three areas generally fits in to what they come looking for help.
And in relation to money, is it really a matter of getting more clients, or is it a matter of really putting systems in place, or all of the above?
All of the above. We look at all areas, because once I start asking great questions of a business owner, we define those areas where money may be leaking out, not upselling the clients, and we might not need more clients. We just need to work with the clients they already have, and the like. So we when they're coaching with me, we delve into all of those areas. Yeah.
Well, I guess from the experience of working in an agency, and as you know, obviously we do a fair bit of lead generation. A lot of customers come to us initially saying, "Hey, we need more leads." And when you start talking to them, it's like, well, last thing you need is actually more leads. You need to increase your conversion rates, and you actually need to start to either, zoom in and specialize in specific areas, or put a system in place in order to actually be able to deliver more to those customers. Because I think one analogy someone told me a long time ago, like a lot of business owners, it's almost like they're running through, a forest, and they're just grabbing whatever they can grab, as opposed to really just stop and pick exactly what they need. I mean, are you finding that as well?
Yeah, I always say you don't need, 1,000 clients. You just need, 5 or 6 high-paying clients even, So people go out thinking that they have to, I get told, a lot of people say, leverage, with group coaching and the like. A lot of times they can just get one good client that can pay them 10 times that amount, and less work. And I'm not, I don't do one-on-one coaching all week. Yet that, if you're a coach, a couple of good high-paying coaching clients get you the cash flow you need to get going, and then you can expand out into niches that you want to cover. Yeah, they start with the, just grabbing whatever they can, like you said, instead of going, well, let's just get some good high-paying clients and work less.
Okay. Well, a bit of a simple and off-topic question. Obviously, a lot of people are looking to start a business, and obviously you work with quite a few franchises. In fact, you're quite an expert in that field. Would you recommend someone starting a business to look into franchises, or is it better to basically start, yourself initially, just to sort of get the gist of it? I mean, is there a piece of advice that you can provide on this question?
Yeah, well, when I started HydroClean, we actually started it out knowing we were going to franchise, yet we still ran the pilots as our own business so we could set up the systems and processes. Because if you're going to franchise, someone comes to me and says, hey, I want to franchise my business. The first thing I ask them is, can I have a look at your systems and processes? Because that's what you're selling.
Mm-hmm.
You to be able to duplicate what you're already doing. And a lot of people are great at what they do, but there's nothing in writing or systems or processes that they can actually sell to somebody else. It's usually all up here.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say, when you're starting out a business, whether you're going to franchise or not, put the systems and processes in place so you have a tangible asset to sell later on. Because people want to buy a business, if you're going to sell later on, people want to buy a business that they can take you out of and continue operating. If they feel that if they take you out and that business is going to die, then they're not going to pay you the money. So I have, John, my husband, calls me the systems queen. He believes that there's a system to go to the toilet. There's not, but I should implement one. But everything we do has a system. So I can be taken out of my role, and anyone in this office can do my role, with the systems in place. And I take a month off every year, and I do not talk to my team for the whole month. And I own 9 companies. So nobody in any company talks to me for a whole month, because I want to test the systems, what I believe in, what I believe that works. And every time I have the month off, I can go the month without talking to them.
Absolutely. Well, I think, the whole idea of exit in mind when you're starting out is super important, because a lot of the time people fall into their business, they've got no idea where it's going to take them, or they basically just want to focus on the money or the freedom or whatever the actual goal is. But I think you're right. Another thing, I guess, is, systems is one of those things that I guess that not everyone is very good with, because I find that a lot of businesses just make things very much tailored to each situation, and this is where they struggle to grow. So do you come across that very much? I mean, someone's struggling to systemize, or potentially saying, hey, each time I work with a client, it's a different story. Can you help me with that? I mean, is there a system? Is there an approach to this problem?
Yes. Well, I like to start with startups, start the systems very early. But I'm sure there's someone listening right now going, I've been in business 10 years and I have not got one system. And it's an overwhelm, Because if you think of putting a system in place for everything you do, that's a big job. And they go, I don't have time for that. What I suggest is doing the systems as you go. So every time you do a new task or a new job, or and so you just have the template there and you write down everything that you do in those steps. Now, we are dealing with people. Every time I put on a franchise partner, it is different. Yet we have the 99%, tick. We call them tick sheets. The system is a tick sheet. You're just ticking it off. We have the tick sheet 99% right every time. We've got those 1%ers of changes as we go along, and we accept that. We know that every time we're going to put a franchise partner on, it is going to be completely different. Yet there is so many similarities when you look at the tick sheet.
Absolutely. Well, look, I think that's a good tip, and I do find that businesses without a system typically bottleneck onto the business owner. I mean, they may bring people on board to do certain things, but at the end of the day, it's very difficult to change the company. In fact, working with some family businesses that sort of don't have a solid system in place for everything becomes a little bit limiting to a degree, because once they reach a certain point, it's very difficult for them to make decisions of scale because they're really tied to those old processes, and they really struggle to understand how to move beyond them. Yeah.
And when we start building these tick sheets, we don't look at a tick sheet having, say, 5 franchises or 5 clients. We look at building the tick sheet for 500, or 5,000. We're building that system all the time for scale,
Mm-hmm.
and I agree with you. It's very, very limiting if you don't have those systems around you, because that's what gives you time and freedom. People believe that tick sheets, you get your hands tied a little bit, but actually it gives you more freedom to scale up. The other thing that it gives you time back is training new team members. So if you're hiring people in, we know that we do have changeover of team members. We like to hire someone that's going to stay with us for 20 years, but yet unlikely to happen. It's less training for you when the next person comes in. The first thing I do is, here's our file of tick sheets. Whenever you need to do a task, you need to open up that. Now, if they have to ask me a question, then we have to adjust the tick sheet because things may have changed. So the training of a new staff member is very minimal.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think there's obviously many aspects to the business. There's obviously your marketing, there is your sales, there is your operations, staff, accounting, and there's a bunch of different things. And essentially, if you don't understand delegation, or if you don't understand the power of your time, which is probably the more fundamental problem here, a lot of business owners end up dipping their toes into all those things.
Yes.
So, yeah, that happens quite a lot.
Yeah. I'm very passionate about being in control of my time. I don't like spending time on things that I don't need to. So I always utilize these systems to allow me more time, If people have been in my world for a while, they hear about my ideal weeks. I know exactly what I'm doing every moment of the day. It's structured for me. I'm not just crazily like running through the trees, just doing what pops up on my, notifications. I deal with certain areas of my business at certain times. Like Mondays, I meet with all of my teams. I sit at the boardroom and my teams come in virtually or in person all day. I do meetings. So I don't meet with my team later in the week unless it's for something particular that we've organised out of that. Wednesdays I coach. I have my coaching clients on Wednesdays. I don't coach any other day. So getting that structure around your time is very important to scale up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I find that time management is pretty much everything. Unless you know how to manage your time, you're really wasting a lot of it, or you just jump on things that feel the right things to do. And at the end of the day, every business owner that I talk to, and by the way, the word business sort of means being busy. They're busy all the time. And it's like, well, you're busy. Are you actually, have you bought yourself, I don't know, a new car, a house and whatnot? It's like, oh, no, that hasn't worked. In fact, over COVID, I found quite a lot of businesses. Every time you call them, it's like, oh, mate, we're so busy, busier than ever. Like, call me later. And you call them later, like, how are you going? No, I'm still busy. Well, mate, just, what's happening? Are you sort of, buying a new house? Are you going on holiday anytime soon? Like, no, I've got no time for that. We're still going. And as a result, I found a lot of industries sort of overcook themselves, where the cost of labor, cost of products kept going up. And then unless they basically kept up with that in terms of their quoting, a lot of them actually ended up losing a large share of their business as well. What's your take on that? I guess, do you find that a lot of businesses are just short-sighted, or is it a lack of planning?
I think when we're talking about price, I'm really comfortable to say that 100% of people who come to coach with me are undervaluing their services, so we're always doubling, tripling their, either hourly rate, which I absolutely despise working on, but, their delivery of service or product. So firstly, we undervalue what we do as a great majority of us. And for me, in my world, it's easy to go, okay, let's increase our prices. But if we haven't got our mindset or our beliefs correct around that, then you can increase your prices and not, sell any more product or service. So when people coach with me, I'm working with the person. So I have to make sure that my coaching client has release those limiting beliefs. If they thought they were worth X, we need to remove that limiting belief for them to believe that they're now worth Y. Because we can do all of the great marketing skills, branding, conversations. But if you have a limiting belief, then, that's where I come in and work with the unconscious mind to make sure I'm releasing some of that stuff, which a lot of coaches give you all the tools and the logistics and the conscious behaviors. And someone might be listening to this going, yep, I'm doing everything everyone tells me to do, yet it's not happening. Then there's a block within you at an unconscious level. And that's where I come in and work with people more directly at that level. And it's very powerful, and it's exciting for me to see instant results. Yeah.
So how do you address that?
Yeah, when I hear the language of people, so I understand where it's coming from. People will say they're stuck, or they don't find the momentum. They'll use words about, I'm doing everything I should be doing, and it's not happening for me. There's that plateau feel. And so then I just work on their unconscious awareness, through different modalities of timeline therapy, NLP, and hypnosis and the like. And we release that, and it's an immediate release. Like I had a client come to me last week and said, I'm here at a business. This is where I'm sitting. I'm not doing anything. I know there's opportunities out there. I'm not following them up like I should. I'm procrastinating is a word that people use a lot. I did one session with her and she engaged 5 new 6-figure clients immediately, like the very next day. And that was massive for her in her business. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of unconscious stuff going on that, me as a coach, I look out for in these clients. Yeah.
Sharon, you're also an author as well. Do you want to tell us about your book or books? I believe you're working on another one.
Yeah, I've got 2 books already. So the first one's How to Grow Your Business Faster Than Your Competitor. That is showing you the 5 areas of business. If you spend time in these 5 areas, your business grows very, very fast. Particularly if you're a startup or early adopter, you don't want to be vulnerable and have to be the person doing all of it. So I want you to earn money very quickly so you can outsource some of these, accounting and marketing and social media, so you can do what's best for you. And I run this model, these 5 steps in all of my businesses. I look at my week and go, where am I spending my time? And I know that I'm spending my time on these income producing areas. Yeah.
Okay.
My second book is Extraordinary Women in Franchising, of course. I interviewed some amazing Australian women who are in franchising because I was, very proud to be awarded Franchise Woman of the Year here in Australia. So on the back of that, I wanted to share out with others the amazing things women are doing in franchising. And so I did that book as well.
Cool. Well, I've got your first book here with me, so yeah, awesome. And I've got it signed by you as well, which is always good. I collect my signed books, so definitely recommend our listeners to check it out. I think it's a fairly good read, and overall, I think there's a lot of things you may pick up from Sharon. I find talking to you, and I find other people saying very similar things. You're very inspiring. You give people this I don't know, energy. Maybe that's a part of your hypnosis. Maybe I'm being hypnotized right now. But I think that inspiration is super important because a lot of the time business owners really get too busy with their work, and oftentimes they need a little bit of a push or something to actually get them moving.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to a client this morning and she said, for the first time, I really feel like someone has my back. That someone's excited for me, looking out for me. And I really get excited by that. I see the potential of, for lack of a better word, in people before they actually do. And then when I see them grow and change and get the results and the goals that they've set out to achieve, I'm a happy girl. I'm a really happy girl.
Cool. Well, look, for those listeners who have never engaged a coach or not quite sure what a business coach does, just to sort of break things down a little bit, what does a business coach do? What should you expect from a business coach when you work with them?
Yeah, well, the first thing, I actually don't call myself a business coach. I call myself a coach because we do deal with the business, but I really believe it's coaching people. Yeah, we look at the business and we have some things to look at there. And we also look at your mindset, your health and well-being, your relationships, all areas of your life, because people come to me and say, oh, I'm angry at work, but I'm not angry anywhere else. I call BS on that because if you're angry, you're angry. You just may not be identifying it. If you're procrastinating in all areas of your life. So I look for the root cause of what's going on there and release all of that. It's a bit like a string of pearls. We can release one and then all the others drop off in all areas of your life. But if you haven't engaged a coach before, be very, you'll know in your gut or your intuition, whatever that is, or in your heart, that this person's right for you at the right time. And I believe that the universe puts these people in front of you at the right time. So someone will be listening and go, never heard of Sharon Jurd before, but here I am. The universe is putting me here in front of you. And I think that, I don't believe they have to be in the same industry, and that's a really strong belief of mine. Some people go, they may be a hairdresser and they go, oh, I need a coach who has been a hairdresser. That's not what we do. I don't teach you how to cut hair. You know how to do that. What I teach you is other areas of your business, your self-talk, your beliefs, your values. What do you call values? What's important to you? A coach shares with you that part of your life and business. You're an expert in your own field. You don't need any, yes, you do training and more training on if you're a hairdresser, but a coach is not that person. And they're not there to do for you. If you want to outsource someone to, build a website, that's a website builder. That's not a coach. A coach is there to make sure you stay on track and reach your goals.
Yeah, well, I think that's a really good point. I think a lot of the time people really need a trainer or someone who can actually educate them in a particular field. But coaching is obviously a lot broader and basically covers other areas as well. Cool. Well, I think that's a really good advice. Now, in terms of you promoting your business, you run events at the moment, or is it mainly all online? I mean, tell us about how you're promoting yourself and how you get in front of people.
Yeah, well, you can go to my website, smjcoachinginstitute.com, and there's an events page there. But I run my signature event, Grow Your Coaching Biz workshop. It's a 3-day event. We do it hybrid, so it's virtual and live or in person. And that's where I share with people how to build the business around their expertise. So some people come to me as a massage therapist, as a hypnotherapist, or owning a business where they sell a product. And I share with them how they can build their business model so they have more time, more money, more life. Yeah. Don't work so hard, make more money doing less. And I give the entire business model around what I've built, my coaching business, doing 7 figures. Yeah. And it's easy as, and people are like, oh, what? And I've had people come through my program where they've absolutely changed their life. So look for the events on SMJ Coaching Institute website. It's the easiest place to find them.
Cool. Awesome. Well, look, Sharon, I think we've covered quite a few things, and I think the best way for business owners to experience you is to actually engage with you or come to one of the events. So I'll definitely put a link to the events on your website because I think it's definitely worthwhile. If you do go to personal development or business events around Brisbane Gold Coast, chances are you'll probably meet Sharon as well because there's a bit of a network of business coaches and mentors that you may potentially find that are all connected with one another. Are there
I
any?
just, I just want to say one thing, Alexei. If someone reaches out in Facebook Messenger, they get me. They don't get the team. Yeah.
Cool.
I really like to personally engage with people. So there's some other ways, you'll get, forms and things on my website. But if you go to Facebook and Messenger and just send me a message and say, hey, I heard you, talking to Alexei, you'll get me and you'll be talking to a real person. I actually love talking to people that way.
Awesome, awesome. Are there any other tips that you'd like to share with businesses in, start of 2024? It's February right now, and I find that whatever's happening to the market is obviously quite funny. Some industries are struggling. It seems like the consumer, behavior is changing based on their decision-making process, while other businesses are blossoming. I mean, any tips for businesses and, at the beginning of 2024 right now?
I'll give you a couple of things. One, if you say it's challenging and it's hard, it will be. Yeah. So be careful of what you tell yourself. Yeah. That's very important. You go, oh, well, it seems a bit woo-woo to go, oh, everything's good when it doesn't feel good. But stay true to the messages that you're saying to yourself, because if you're staying in the negative, then you will get more negative. If you're feeling like it's a bit tough, go to gratitude. People go, oh, when you're sad, pretend you're happy. Don't do that. Go to gratitude and look around and be grateful for what you have right now, because you can be grateful for what you have and be striving to grow your business and grow yourself. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention was be consistent and persistent. Be consistent in what you do. I'm not saying you shouldn't change, but when you change, it must be strategic. So if you start something, be consistent and keep going with it, because most people give up 3/4 of the way through, as you would know, Alexei. You've probably seen it a million times as much as I have. And be persistent about it. If you want that client, don't send one email and, think that you're going to get the client. Be persistent in your goals and what you want to achieve.
Well, absolutely. I think what you touched on is a bit of a cold outreach strategy that a lot of businesses go, hey, someone told me about it. I'm going to try it. They go and scrape a database or get a bunch of their past contacts and send them an email and nothing. And they're like, hey, I told you so. And, from there, it's like, well, mate, what's the strategy? Like, what are you trying to execute? And they're like, well, I just wanted to let them know about X. And it's like, well, now they know about it. Like, what are they supposed to do with this? Is the timing right? And I find personally, when it comes to marketing, the biggest thing is timing, because like you may be sending out the best offer there is, but they're just not interested right at this moment. Like real estate's really full with this, as you know, former real estate, you would know this, that people are potentially looking to sell their property, but not right now, and it may take them a very long time to do it. Yet if you call a list of people within a 7-year cycle, you'll find that 20% of those people will sell. They'll move to a different address. We've learned this with my wife through working on our domestic cleaning business, where you do some outreach campaigns and you find that, hey, we're no longer at this address. Like, what's going on? Well, we sold, or we moved on, or we changed the way we live. And it's like, well, that is true. And if you keep following that same approach without understanding the strategy behind it, yeah, you're probably doomed to fail.
Yeah, you need to be building those relationships long term, keeping consistent conversations or contact with them, not being a stalker, as you know, but that soft, nurturing of those relationships long term. Be consistent about that.
Cool. Well, look, I'm sure our listeners will definitely Google you up and maybe even buy your book or, come to one of your events, because I think it's definitely worth the time. I've obviously seen you speak at a few events and very energizing, very electric, I would even say.
Oh,
Now,
thank you, Alex.
now, before I wrap things up, I wanted to do this section, which is something I do whenever I have guests, which is called rapid fire. This is where I ask you a very, a specific question, but I want you to give me a real quick and simple answer. Are you ready?
Okay.
All right. What's your favorite personal development book?
I think mine.
Okay, so you like your own book, How to Grow
Yeah,
Your Business Faster Than Your Competitor. Okay, fair enough.
right.
Next question is, what's the best place for a holiday?
Oh, definitely Fiji.
Okay, haven't been. Definitely will have to check it out. And last one, bit of a tricky one. Who's your favorite client?
Oh, my favorite client is someone who wants to change.
Okay, no specifics. All right. Well, in that case, is there a particular business that you reckon like is really worth following or really has really inspired you? Like there's a business or a brand that you go, wow, this is it. This is really worth checking out or following.
Yeah, HydroClean's followed a number of businesses, but the one person that I've hung around with a lot is Janine Ellis at Boost Juice. I really like how they know their ideal client very, very well and market to that person very well.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, hopefully that gives our listeners some ideas to, I guess, the sort of customers you work with. And yeah, I do hope that our listeners will potentially proceed and end up in one of your events because I think it is quite life-changing. And business owners specifically need a little bit of direction and ideas in order to get their business moving forward. Because if you just get stuck in your day-to-day, it gets a little bit daunting, it gets a little bit boring, and sometimes you really need that motivation in order to inspire people around you as well to keep forward.
Yeah, I have a very strong belief everybody needs a coach.
Absolutely. Well, I definitely agree with that. Sharon, thanks very much for your time. I really just wanted to make this very personal, short and sweet, and hopefully our listeners have enjoyed that. Guys, if you'd like to ask any questions, feel free to reach out to Sharon. I'll include that link in the description. And yeah, if you like our podcasts, make sure you subscribe and you tell your friends about them. Sharon, thanks for your time, and it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. My name is Alexei. This is Better Business Podcast. I'll chat to you soon.